Hello, this is Mary Dew, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about altars today. And so, why would you want to create an altar? Isn't that a religious thing like in church? Well, the answer is yes, you do see altars in church. They are generally kind of the central, kind of the anchor of the church, of the energy of that ceremony. And so if you think of that in creating your own personal altar, it doesn't have to be religious at all. It can just be a place to anchor your own personal energy and kind of follow suit with that. A place for you to have personal ceremony as you're working with your energy. A place that is very grounding. A place that you can release anything you need to get rid of, anything you want to let go of, and also a place where you can place intentions and prayers as to what you want to call in and manifest in your life. That's how, as you work with the altar, it becomes an energetic portal, able to transmute anything you're letting go of into positive energy that you want to call in. And so as you work with an altar and place one in your home in a certain space, and as you meditate there, the energy of that altar builds. And so let me kind of show you what I'm talking about. So when you're going to create an altar, the first thing is finding the right space and finding a space that feels good, that has good energy, and a quiet space. If you have kids, you might want to think about an altar can even be in the back corner of a closet where you can close the door and you can just have private space. It doesn't have to be large. It doesn't have to be elaborate like the altars you see in churches. It can be as simple as laying down a cloth with your intention that this is your altar and place a candle on it, and that can be your meditation space there. Or if you want to get a little deeper into the creating an altar, I'll give you some basics on what I do to create the most basic, most simple altar by incorporating the 4 directions and the 4 elements. And that's basically working with the concept of a medicine wheel as an altar. If you draw a circle and then you draw a line through the center and across where you've got 90-degree angles, so you've got 4 quadrants, then you've got the 4 quadrants of your 4 directions, your 4 elements, and that could be a very basic beginning for an altar. And then as you work with the altar, like I said, it gets the energy of it grows as you place your intention there, and you can work with whatever you place on your altar. So we're going to create a very basic one right here. I've cleared off my altar cloth, and this is an altar cloth that I got from the shaman's market through the Power Path, and it came from South America, from the Shipibo, and they do wonderful sewing work, and they sew. This actually has a pattern in it, and it has a boa and an anaconda, and it's the song of the Pomarosa and provides protection. And so I thought this was a lovely cloth to place as my altar. Your cloth for your altar does not have to be anything fancy. You can just, lay down a towel. You can lay down a piece of fabric. Or maybe I also have a smaller altar in the other room that I just lay down a handkerchief that was an embroidered handkerchief that my grandmother had. And that was kind of a special little item that I used as the base for a smaller altar that I have in the other room. But for this one, we're going to use the Song of the Pomarosa and call in the protection of the boa and the anaconda to this space. And I've chosen a space that's close to windows, and this is facing west. And so as you begin to place things on your altar, you might want to grab your phone, and you probably have a compass app on your phone, or you can access a compass app. Take a moment to locate the different directions and orient yourself in your space as to where the different directions are. So for me, east is this way, south, west, and north. And so I'm going to recognize those 4 directions by placing stones. So I've got my stone, this garnet dodecahedron that I call Curtis. he's going to anchor us in the east. I'm going to start with the east, and then I'm going to take this ruby that I call Chloe and place her here in the south to mark the south. So the east is the direction of new beginnings. That's why we start there. The south is the direction of the container, also the direction of the heart. The ruby really is a nice stone to connect with the heart. I'm going to place that there. And this, I believe it's called a Septarian Stone. This one is a shaman stone, and this is Bodhi. And I'm going to place him here in the west to mark the west. To mark the west is the direction of letting go and of release, the season of autumn. And then I'm going to bring Bear, another Septarian, different shape. Bring Bear here into the north and mark the north. And north is the direction of knowledge, wisdom, and power. And so we've got our direction of new beginnings. We've got the container of love and support and beauty and truth in the heart. We've got the direction of the west, the letting go, releasing anything that no longer serves you, and the good that can come from that, honoring the ancestors. And then here in the north, this is where we come in and make our bids for power and vitality. And so we recognize the four directions in our altar. And then I'm going to go back around and I'm going to place the four elements. And so I have a candle here, fire, which I like to place in the east. And different people place the different elements in different directions. I like to place the fire in the east. I always think of the fire of the sunrise, which is the direction of the east. So I'm going to place the fire here next to the stone. And we're going to grab this right here, which is some earth. So this is a combination of some earth from Chimayo in the Santa Fe area and in New Mexico. It's a sacred temple there. And it also has some sand from the banks of the River Ganga in India. And so this earth, I'm going to place this in the direction of the south, which is the element of earth. And then the west is represented by the element of water. And for this, I've got this beautiful vessel that my aunt gave me that actually is from India. And I'm going to take some water that I brought back from the River Ganga in India, the sacred river, the mother of all rivers. And I'm just going to pour just a tiny amount into the vessel as a representation of water. And I'm going to place this vessel here in the west, representing the element of water. And finally, the direction of the north is represented by the element of air. And so I've got this feather that my sister Daryl gave me and a couple little feathers here from, I believe, a blue jay, which I just found. And I'm going to place these feathers as a representation of the air element. And I'm going to place them here with the bear stone in the north. And so it's really as simple as that. Now this is an active altar and we're calling it to attention. We're honoring this altar, honoring the four directions, calling them in as our allies. We're honoring the four elements, calling those in as our allies. I also like to place a sacred object in the center of the altar. And for that, I've got a couple things here. I've got some interesting stones. This is an amethyst here. I call her Irene. And this is a fluorite, octahedron, Edward. And then here is a little, I believe this is a scolecite. And his name is Jack. And I'm going to place these honoring my grandma, grandpa, and my Uncle Ed in the center here of my altar. It's nice to honor some ancestors, and I'm also going to place this photo of my grandmother, Uncle Ed, and my dad when he was a kid to honor the ancestors, call them in as my allies, and place all of those sacred items in the middle of my altar. And the final thing that I will do here as I'm honoring the two groups that are currently taking place in my self-observation journey from now till the end of the year. The two groups are the koala. We drew the koala card for the first group, and that is empathy. Speak less and listen more. I'm going to place that here on my altar the koala and call in the koala as an ally, and also place the horse, which is the kind of mascot spirit animal for the evening group, the horses. And this one says, freedom, you always have a choice. Call in the ally of the horse onto my altar. Finally, I like to keep a little bowl with some little slips of paper and a Sharpie close to my altar, and that way if I have any intentions that I want to place, or even people, you can write the names of people on these little slips of paper and place it on your altar if you want to honor someone, or can include them in your prayers at your altar, your meditation. Or in this case, I wrote out 5 different elements that we were going to work on as part of our October in this self-observation journey. And those 5 elements are neutrality, non-judgment, acceptance, compassion, forgiveness, those 5. And then I also at the bottom added love as something that I would like to call in to my life. And so I'm just going to cut these apart. I just wrote this on an index card, very simple, just in Sharpie. It's always nice when you're placing an intention to speak it out loud, which reinforces it one way. First, I guess the first way, you reinforce it with the thought itself in your mind, and then you speak it out loud and you reinforce it that way on that plane in the physical realm with your voice and the power of sound. And then the third way to really solidify and back up our intentions is to write them down. And so I've got neutrality. I'm going to place neutrality here. Let me put that over by the water element. I think I'm going to place all these by the water element. They kind of go together. Non-judgment. Compassion. I'm going to put that by the south, by the heart. And then I've got acceptance. I'm going to put that in the east. And then forgiveness, I'm going to place here in the north. And love, I'm going to place right here in the center with my sacred objects. And so I will go ahead and light the candle in the east. And this kind of energetically, I'm opening up the energy of this altar. And so now this is a sacred space, and I can come here and I can sit either on the floor or on a chair and just kind of place my feet on the earth, or sit on the earth and just close my eyes, breathe deeply, and meditate around some of these intentions that I've placed here. Or another thing that's really important to do when you come to the altar is maybe to even let go of your own personal intentions. And like the koala said, speak less and listen more. And just learn to sit with your altar as you cultivate the energy of your altar and listen. And allow yourself to hear what messages the universe might have for you. They say that prayer is when we talk to God or talk to the universe. And meditation is when the universe or the God of our understanding talks to us. And so if we can find that stillness for even just a couple minutes a day, and find our altar and begin to cultivate the energy of that altar and grow that altar as a portal, and then we're able to really work with our energy, really find our space of calm, our space of stillness, and our place to listen, and allow those universal messages to come in. So I hope this gives you a good start to your altar. I look forward to hearing how it goes for you, and please feel free to post any photos and or comments about your own experience, and I'll be happy to answer any questions as well. Until next time, thank you. Sat Nam, I am truth. Aho, and Namaste.